Hello again. We're going to continue on learning about our plant parts, and this book is called Stems. And some plants, like our sunflowers here, they have big, sturdy, thick stems. Sometimes they even have little prickly things on the stems to help protect them from animal predators. We have some sunflowers out in the storybook garden that are, 20 feet tall. They can be, just a few feet tall, but they can go up to over 20 feet tall. And think of all the food those sunflowers provide for our birds and squirrels and people too, as well as all the bees and butterflies that come and pollinate the flowers, gather that pollen and nectar. So let's find out about these stems. Plants need stems. Stems join the leaves and roots of a plant. Most stems grow above the soil. So here we can see this plant has multiple stems, and there's all those roots, and we see lots of leaves. This is a very healthy plant. The more leaves that the plant has, the more energy it can produce from the sun's light. Leaves grow from stems. Stems hold leaves up to the sun. Leaves make food out of sunlight. Stems act like straws. They carry food from the leaves and roots to the whole plant. And you can see these stems are really fuzzy. And that fuzziness can protect the plant from animal predators, but that fuzziness can also collect little water droplets that are in the air to help hydrate the plant. Every living thing needs water, and in dry areas, those little hairs help the plant get enough water to grow healthy leaves and roots and the whole plant. All kinds of stems. Tall woody tree trunks are stems covered with bark. The bark protects the stem. It's super important that we don't peel bark off trees. The bark is like the skin on a tree. Sometimes it will slough off some bark, but if you would pull bark from around the whole tree trunk, we call that girdling, that can actually kill a tree. So if you find pieces of bark on the ground, it's okay to collect that. You can use it to make fairy houses and arts and crafts and things. But remember that bark protects the inside of the tree from bugs that might cause harm and other things that in the environment that might cause harm to the tree. So just watch for it on the ground. And bark and things on leaves on the ground, remember, will be decomposed through those decomposing animals to help enrich the soil to keep the tree healthy. That's part of Mother Earth's plan. Oh, look at this is strawberries. Yum! We have strawberries growing out in the garden. Strawberry plants have long, thin stems. The stems creep along on top of the soil. So here we see all kinds of stems. This is the mother plant. And we see the mother plant has sent out lots of runners with new baby plants. Each one of these baby plants can become a new strawberry plant. So it's fun to be able to share strawberry plants with your friends and neighbors and get lots and lots of juicy strawberries that are not only delicious, but so healthy for our bodies. Tulip bulbs are underground stems. In spring, leaves grow up and tulips bloom. After the long, cold winter, tulips and daffodils and early spring bulbs are a really super important source of food for our bee buddies after they emerge from their hives in the spring. They've been waiting all winter, living off that stored honey in their hives, and now they can go and visit all these beautiful tulips and other spring flowering bulbs And also flowers like daffodils that are so important to provide them with the food they need for themselves and their families. So here we see that bulb that is planted underground. And did you know these kind of bulbs, tulips and daffodils, are bulbs that need to be planted in the fall. They have to be underground through the chill of winter in order for them to grow new flower stalks in the spring. They call that stratification. It has to have a chill period. Some plants are like that. We're lucky in our part of the world that we can grow spring bulbs. In other parts of the world, they have to create artificial conditions for those bulbs to grow by chilling the bulbs for usually 3 months in the refrigerator and then plant them, and they only get one life cycle out of them. Here they come back year after year, providing beauty and food for our pollinator pals. Stems we eat. We eat a lot of stems. Some stems are good to eat. Celery stems are a crunchy snack. And did you know the leaves on a celery plant are super delicious and actually the healthiest part of the celery plant? We can also eat the celery seeds. Isn't that fun? So much flavor. Asparagus stems grow quickly. These stems are called spears, and in early spring we start to see those asparagus stems coming out of the ground. It's one of the first crops in the spring. It takes several years to establish a group of asparagus, and you don't cut them all off. You have to just take some of them so you don't destroy the plant. But they are really delicious and unusual plants. And then when they go to seed, they produce really beautiful foliage like ferns, and it's very pretty to look at. It looks like little clouds of fern-like foliage. Wonderful stems, woody or soft, thick or thin, stems help plants stay alive. Here we see our beautiful dandelions. Dandelions are one of Mother Earth's most important plants. It's such an important food for our bee buddies, and of course all the other animals that depend on it for food, deer and foxes and rabbits, and of course people too. People have eaten dandelions for thousands of years. It's very, very healthy for our bodies. And here we see an oak tree. Look at this thick stem with the branching stems of the oak tree. Here we see that seed that was inside the acorn. Now the squirrels will bury lots of these acorns in their scatter hoarding. But inside that hard outer shell is the nut inside the seed. And inside that seed is the beginning of a root, the beginning of a stem, and little seed leaves that will emerge once that seed germinates. That means when it softens up and kicks off its hard seed coat. It's amazing. And just like with our other plants, the more leaves that we have, the more the plant can grow so it gets big enough to produce those acorns that are so important to animals in our world.